protest march continues in Lae. Morobeans give 7-day ultimatum to administration. And local scientists challenge government to develop renewable resources sector.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thank you for joining us with Tuesday's news. We begin this bulletin with the latest from Lae City, where we've seen 2 days of protests. Over the last 48 hours, 4 official police reports state that 4 people have been injured. 1 died of his injuries early this morning. Police are maintaining a 24-hour presence in all potential hotspots. While there has been minor damage by vandals, order is being maintained. Well, more than 3,000 people marched from Lae's back road through Chinatown and onto the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium. Lae police maintained a presence to ensure that the march didn't turn violent and that properties were left untouched. EMTV's Bethany Harriman was at the march and he has this report.
By 8 a.m. this morning, the head of the crowd had already assembled at the Malahang Industrial Centre, and the tail stretching as far as the back road. When the march began at Malahang, police were already present to control and contain the march. This was the scene on the Malahang Road when a little over 3,000 people passed Hunter and made their way to Chinatown.
It's 10:30 here at the Chinatown roundabout. Behind me, a crowd in the thousands making their way to the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium. Police have closed off all exit routes into town. The crowd is predominantly Morobean.
The protesters were marching to the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium to attend a public forum. The protests started yesterday against street vendors and petty crimes. Lae authorities are careful not to have a repeat of the 2011 protests. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
Morobean youths have given the Morobe provincial government 7 days to crack down on street vendors and petty crimes in the city. They are also calling for a ban on Asian shops who supply the street vendors with products to sell. EMTV's Martha Lewis reports.
More than 3,000 protesters arrived at the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium at 10 a.m. this morning. They were escorted by armed police and army personnel. The stadium was packed with Morobean youths holding up the Morobe flag and placards and chanting. Speaking to the crowd, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru issued directions to the Lae City Council and police. Effective today, there will be a total ban on street vending in the city and zero tolerance on pickpockets, stealing and harassment against women and girls. Yesterday, up to 300 protesters assembled at 7th Street, but they were stopped by armed police. Various groups are moving in different locations of the city. Police opened fire to disperse crowds at Chinatown, Top Town and Eriku. All the shops were closed. The bus stops were empty. Commuters were forced to walk home. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Lae.
And in a related story, national flag carrier Air New Guinea cancelled several of its flights to Lae today due to current protests in the city. All roads in and out of Lae have been blocked, making access difficult for the travelling public, including airline passengers. Air New Guinea is closely monitoring the situation and will advise as to when flights into the Morobe capital are to resume. A separate petition was presented to Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and Lae's Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi Jr. by Yalu villagers in support of the protests in Lae. The villagers blocked off access along the Yalu Bridge and halted traffic for 7 hours until they presented their petition. They've also called for the provincial government to crack down on Chinese-owned shops that supply much of the goods being sold on the streets.
Just before the Yalu Bridge, a coconut tree was cut down on the road. Yalu villagers refused to remove the roadblock until the governor arrived to address them. 200 meters away at the bridge, a crowd of people with banners, placards and bush knives. They too were in support of the protests in Lae City.
If it goes to the extreme where if we one person we take ownership of these petty crimes, we will take it.
The concerns were similar. Street vendors had to be removed and that tough action should be taken against Chinese-owned shops that supplied the vendors. The Yalus weren't too concerned about the deadline. They agreed with the 7-day deadline demanded by the Lae City protesters. They went further to issue a threat that if the provincial government didn't respond constructively to the petition, they would start removing illegal settlements. Morobe has always been at the forefront of action when there's a general consensus that settlements are linked to crime. But almost always people get injured and businesses come to a standstill. Just before 3 p.m. the petition was presented to the governor. It marked the end of at least one part of the tensions in Lae.
Time belong you me, long passing my, now you me sleep, now you me talk, yes, enough now.
This roadblock has pretty much ended after the presentation of the petition to the governor. Now it could have turned into a violent protest if provincial authorities and police hadn't responded to this situation earlier. Now the Yalu people are demanding an end to street vending. They're also in support of what's happening in Lae. Provincial authorities are attending to as many gatherings as possible to diffuse any tension. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Still on the protests in Lae, Lae Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi Jr. confirmed that there has been one death from yesterday's protest march. Relatives of the man blocked the 4-mile section this morning. Police dispersed the angry relatives and restored access to the highway. In town, police managed a crowd of over 3,000 protesters to the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium. At around 3 p.m, police again showed a presence with Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and his deputy Judas Nalau at Yalu Village to receive a petition from the people and ensure that a roadblock was removed. Superintendent Wagambi Jr. thanked members of the Lae Police for managing and containing the situation. Though there is some normalcy in the city, police are still on alert.
We will still maintain our normal patrols. We're not setting down from our duties as of today. We will continue until we are sure that the situation will not erupt again. I think, like I said earlier on, it's a matter which was boiling up for quite a while, and the people had a lot of concern, so they have raised it. But I would also like to point out that the manner in which they conducted themselves yesterday in coming into town, there's a genuine reason behind it, but the conduct, how they conducted themselves, how the majority of the youths going around and harassing people and stoning and damaging some properties, that was uncalled for. That is.
The demand for domestic power is forecasted to increase in the future as Papua New Guinea experiences growth in the economy. The country is already facing chronic power shortage, mainly due to aging power facilities and a lack of maintenance. To address this, a power study has been conducted with the help of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, also known as JICA. It is expected to see the Ramu system develop to contribute to increased power supply in the Highlands and Momasa regions.
The third joint committee meeting was held this morning in Port Moresby between PNG Power and JICA. The meeting pointed out that the Ramu system, which supplies power to the Highlands region, Medang and Lae, is unstable and has been subjected to frequent power interruptions. The meeting discussed ongoing progress on the 2 projects funded by JICA, which will help to stabilize future power supply. The 2 projects are the Ramu System Power Development Master Plan and the Lae Area Distribution Network Improvement Plan.
The high economic growth being driven basically by the mining sector in the Ramu system. We have had to, we are privileged indeed that JICA have come on board to sponsor this study. It's very, very important for the Ramu network. It's the second largest network in our system right now. We also have issues with our assets, aging assets, and I'm pleased to announce here that part of the study is also to do with the Lae distribution upgrade. And Lae, of course, is our second biggest city, so we have had issues in the past, and this study will definitely address those issues.
Director Energy Division and Deputy Secretary for the Department of Petroleum and Energy, Voreveve, reiterated that the government wants to see 70% of Papua New Guineans have access to reliable and affordable electricity by 2050.
In the government, as the Department of Petroleum and Energy, we are undertaking a study, what we call a National Electrification Rollout Plan. And that plan is a very basic plan that we need to roll it out by 2030 to have access, power access to by 70% according to the DSP that we have in the country.
So far, some of the recommendations include the replacement of the aging facilities as an urgent countermeasure and the divergence of power supplies such as natural gas turbine and biomass for stable power supply under the least cost development. Chief Representative of the JICA-PNG office, Shigeru Sugiyama, said the projects will require a huge amount of investment.
I think most of the project has not been identified in terms of the financing or in terms of the investors. Therefore, we'd like to ask for your idea how we can encourage the potential investor to come on board or maybe at least come to be interested.
The final report will be released after comments from today's meeting are incorporated. The report will be made available on the JICA website. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News tonight. We'll have more local stories making headlines after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The Baroko Police Criminal Investigation has confirmed the arrests of 2 more officers from the Department of Lands and Physical Planning. The arrests are part of an ongoing investigation into alleged cases of fraud within the Lands Department. The former Lands Secretary was arrested and charged yesterday.
2 more officers were arrested and charged today in relation to the misappropriation of Land Reform Trust Fund. Vavine Walo and Simeon Andrew will be facing similar charges as the former Lands Secretary Romilly Kilapet. Both are senior officers with the Department of Lands and Physical Planning. Vavine is the Manager of Finance and Budget, while Simeon is the Director Corporate. The charges are 1 count of misappropriation and 1 count of conspiracy. They all conspired to defraud the state of over 208,000 kina by accessing the Land Reform Trust account, which the check raised was not used for the intended purposes of land reform but for other goods and services. Mr. Kilapet was out on 2,000 kina bail yesterday. They are all expected to appear before the Waigani Committal Court sometime next week. Investigations into the matter are still ongoing with more arrests expected. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
The National Court has ruled in favour of police officers Timothy Gitua and Thomas Elu on their applications for extension of interim stay orders. The ruling is in relation to their suspensions, which Justice Colin McKyle says raises serious issues that need to go to trial. Both men were disciplined and suspended around the time when they were investigating the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in relation to fraudulent payments to Paul Paraka lawyers. Justice McKyle said in the interest of continuity and consistency, the police officer's application will be upheld until those proceedings are dealt with. Papua New Guinean scientists have challenged the Department of State Investment and Public Enterprise to establish proper discussions with them in order to develop the renewable resources sector in the country. In an energy conference in Port Moresby today, different science experts presented talks on how each renewable resource can be used to provide electricity for rural PNG.
Much focus was given on how these science experts can assist the government in providing clean energy options to consumers. So far, the government, in partnership with PNG Power, has installed electricity in a number of districts. However, on a global scale, PNG is still lagging far behind having a modern energy system, a system that is clean, renewable, and accessible to every citizen. This inaugural conference has brought together industry experts, funding agencies and sector development partners to discuss and improve the energy system.
This renewable aspect of our policy is to fast track, providing off-grid solutions. We don't have to sit and rely on this wire that is leading to nowhere, but go down there to the ground and provide solar solutions, wind solutions, even small hydro, small diesel solutions. All our people within a respectable time frame must be able to have source of power.
Papua New Guinea is one country that has potential in over 5 renewable resources that can generate electricity for the entire country. Minister Micah says talks on developing these renewable resources are ongoing, and once the energy policy is passed in Parliament, it will provide a guideline for the department to use in developing the sector.
This policy will now open up the space, set up an independent energy regulator.
However, local scientists want the government to establish dialogue with them on a way forward for the sector. They said the conference has paved way for a better understanding between the different organizations and will lead to proper dialogue to achieve the government's 2015 vision in the renewable sector. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The word misbehaviour was put under the legal microscope today when the suspended clerk of Parliament's lawyer defended his client's case before a 3-member tribunal this morning. Saraya Soy argued that the public prosecutor's use of the word misbehaviour raised a constitutional issue because the word has no legal basis under Section 7B of the Organic Law. Vela Conivaro was suspended from office on allegations that on different occasions he misbehaved in the handling of parliamentary documents, finance and on the appointment of a consultant. Public Prosecutor Kalawin says the use of the word is justified without any constitutional issue. The 3-member bench, chaired by Justice Hartshorn, will hand down their decision at a later date. Well, education will remain a key bilateral understanding between Papua New Guinea and Australia. Australia's Foreign Minister Julie Bishop says it's more people-to-people focused. The new Colombo plan will give equal opportunity to Australians to study and work in PNG.
It is more likely to see Papua New Guineans being offered a place in any of Australia's universities to study. The new Colombo plan will see a reversed version of it being implemented in coming years. Australia's Foreign Affairs Minister Julie Bishop says undergraduates in Australia will be sent to PNG to live, study and undertake an internship mentoring program in parts of the country. Ms. Bishop launched the new Colombo plan and embraced it as one of the key connections between PNG and Australia in the education sector. A total of 46 students from Deakin, Wollongong and James Cook University are targeted to be the first for the 2016 program. The new Colombo plan has also partnered with Westpac Bank, ANZ, General Electric, Oil Sets and ExxonMobil for the PNG engagement. PNG is among Singapore, Indonesia, Hong Kong and Japan for the new Colombo plan rollout in the Asia-Pacific region. The Colombo plan was launched by Ms. Bishop and Partner Minister Rimit Patno, witnessed by Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar in Port Moresby recently. Jack Lapava Jr. National EMTV News.
For nearly 20 years, Enga Province has been focusing on educating its population. This focus on education has reaped rewards, with many Engans succeeding in various fields as a result. And this is set to continue, with Australia pledging a significant amount of funding to educate the next generation of Engans. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop was in Enga Province recently to announce Australia's commitments.
Accompanied by Papua New Guinea Foreign Minister Rimping Pato, Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop arrived in Enga Province to a warm welcome. The purpose of her visit, to witness firsthand the impact of Enga Province's focus on education and health. And she was impressed with a province that has gone from having one of the lowest rates of literacy to arguably the highest by province in Papua New Guinea.
We are working in the education sphere by helping build new classrooms. In fact, 10 new classrooms will be built, or 10 schools will receive new classrooms, new teachers' accommodation, ablution blocks across the Enga Province, and we hope that that will help 800 children attend school in the new classrooms. We have 10 Australia Award scholarships for Enga women to undertake certification at the elementary teaching level, so 10 more teachers.
Minister Bishop also had the opportunity to visit the Mambisanda Health Centre in Wapenamanda, run by the Good News Lutheran Church, and to see for herself the state of this health facility that has been providing medical services for over 40 years. In Wabag, Minister Bishop visited Enga College of Nursing and the Institute of Business Studies campus at Erelia, where she announced Australia's pledge to supporting the training of more nurses for Enga Province.
In terms of health services, we're so pleased to be working with the Enga College of Nursing, and we've committed $2 million or 4 million kina to help build the dormitories here and the dining facilities to make this an even better facility for the people of this province. We have 22 scholarships, Australia Award scholarships for Diploma of Nursing, and I know 16 of them are this year for people from Enga Province. So 22 more diplomas of nursing and 12 for next year. So we are investing in the health and educational outcomes here.
Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas, often referred to as the father of free education, was pleased with Australia's support, adding that the relationship between Australia and Enga Province was now stronger than ever.
I just want to say that we have a partnership with the Australian government. We want to thank the Australian government for finally deciding to work more closely with the Enga Provincial government to try and see more development come to this last province of Papua New Guinea. And I just want to make a call to you as Foreign Minister to continue this partnership that we've developed. And I would like to see some long-term arrangement where we can forge a better relationship so that the Enga Provincial government and the Australian government can deliver for the people of Enga.
Morobeans, National EMTV News.
And now let's check out the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3395 in the interbank market today, and at Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3320 $0.4680 Australian dollars, $0.3053 euro, and 40.53 Japanese yen. Taking a look at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra all closed the day higher. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 180 points lower as well. The ASX closed at 85 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 12 points higher as well. You're watching Tuesday's news. We'll bring you the Gulf Offshore Project to proceed. That's coming up next. Stay with us. Good to have you back with the news. The people of Kyunga in Western Province have thanked PNG Air for increasing passenger and cargo capacity with their new aircraft. Business houses and individuals from Kyunga told MTV News that it is a relief from past capacity problems with smaller aircrafts.
The inclusion of the new ATR 72-600 into the PNG Air aircraft fleet is a blessing to the people of Western Province. PNG Air operates regular flights into Daru, Kyunga and Tawubil. Business-minded individuals like John Larry told MTV News daily operations have been affected, even making losses because of cargoes offloaded. With a much bigger aircraft, this will boost business operations, unlike past where floating passengers and cargo like food and medicine was common. Kyunga is a corridor to Tawubil where the Octary mine is located.
The old mans are uploaded, also wait in 2-3 days before I go. But now me looking at Sensila Balus now. I'm can pick him over something, cargo and passengers, the capacity of 76 and people are more. People are going to because people are service by you making. Now, helping me long. Because I talk a lot of cargo and the Balus.
PNG Air Chief Operating Officer Paul Abbott told MTV News the airline is only increasing capacity to allow the movement of passengers and cargo in and around Papua New Guinea. Fabian Hakalitz, National MTV News.
A new offshore oil and gas project will be developed in the Gulf Province. This was announced by Petroleum Minister Nixon Duban in a media conference this afternoon. Minister Duban says the project developer, Twinza Oil, has declared its operations in the province and will start developing oil and gas drilling next year. This is the second major oil and gas project in the Gulf Province after the Elk Antelope LNG.
The Petroleum Minister on behalf of the national government announced the second major oil and gas project in the Gulf Province.
Today I have the greatest pleasure to express to the media in the country and the people of Gulf that Twinza Oil has taken a huge quantum leap to consider an offshore prospect, which is new in the industry's dimension in terms of the development of oil and gas.
Duban announced the project will be a liquefied petroleum gas or LPG project that will benefit the economy of the country.
The benefit structure that they are proposing for this country is second to none compared to the current project agreements that we have. And the people of Gulf stand to benefit a lot. And the commitment by the government of Papua New Guinea is that we must ensure that they have the PDL as early as next year.
Senior project engineer Eric Kowa said the offshore platform will be built outside the Kerema Bay and will concentrate to condensate gas. While Twinza Oil is yet to acquire full oil and gas license in the country, Mr. Kowa said the development of the project is on schedule.
And with the support of the Minister for Petroleum, Honorable Duban, and the Governor of Gulf, Honorable Cabo, we are looking forward to move forward towards development drilling by fourth quarter of next year.
Meanwhile, the Gulf governor said these are exciting times for Gulf Province, having the second LNG project in Gulf and now the new offshore project. However, he stressed the importance of equal distribution of revenue to develop the province.
I believe that's the best way forward, is to see that the project provinces are given maximum attention, given maximum benefit in the projects that are being developed in those provinces.
Minister Duban said the current drop in oil and gas prices continues to affect the country's economy, but he maintained the government is committed to develop this project. Stanley Oved Jr., National MTV News.
An entry port is the first tourism attraction site, whether it's by air or sea. A hard-working group of people who always keep these places clean has not really been acknowledged by the travelling public. Tonight, we bring you a story by MTV's Fabian Hakalitz from Mount Hagen in Western Islands Province. A story dedicated to all those people who work behind the scenes to keep our airports clean and attractive.
The Kagamuga Interdenomination Mothers Association Incorporation are just one of few groups or individuals who work tirelessly maintaining cleanliness at the airport. The group, formed in 2012, comprised of volunteers where they dream to transform the look of Kagamuga Airport through keeping it clean and attractive.
We plus stop this little mama, we plus stop, plus by clean, plus they must stop quiet, we plan on like him some plakain. All monkey by this tape, na this lagain or something, we plan on like him. All man must come free now, all must walk about free now, go back long, one all come long.
The slogan is Agents of Change for Kagamuga Airport as an international airport to PNG's agriculture city. The association will ensure the travelling public or tourists are impressed and have enjoyed their stay.
Mipla writing was an agent for change. All looking Mipla no back all looking shit all satanim na look ken. Oh some because this la word them got meaning was Mipla la come up one black Mipla change lo yana. This times are giving Mipla also must lo whole tour. Now this la encouraging Mipla to lo. Mipla must continue to walk now.
Mount Hagen is blessed with one of the world-class terminal, and for Julie and Maria, they have already started their routines, cleaning up and beautifying the airport area.
Proud lo disla terminal em stap long community blong mipla inside lo Yamga Pepper tribe na mipla ol mama mipla stap long look out him na manage him disla ino kan osem sampla kind date no kan stop mipla ready mo sampla flower pot or something blong put him inside lo mipla terminal na mipla like make it nice na.
According to National Airports Corporation, the new terminal will be opened later this month. This is just a story that can teach each and every one of us to appreciate and at least say thank you to some people who remain simple and humbled in life and work to ensure people use and enjoy this service. Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea will be sending a delegation to the 12th Festival of Arts in Guam next year. Acting Executive Director for National Cultural Commission, Dr. Jacob Simet, announced this today. The National Cultural Commission is hoping to take a total of 170 participants.
The National Cultural Commission is moving ahead with plans to send participants to the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts in Guam. The festival will be held from the 22nd of May to the 4th of June next year. Acting Executive Director for National Cultural Commission, Dr. Jacob Simet, highlights the importance of the festival. Participants from Papua New Guinea will include performers, artists and musicians. NCC is hoping to raise a total of 2.3 million kina to participate in the festival.
We normally would include our funding in the budget for 2016. Now that we have not received that funding, the strategy now is to go through the minister in a submission. And as I said earlier, this is not something, I don't think we have ever at all received funding for participation at festivals through the budget.
The host country, Guam, has begun preparations to welcome more than 2,500 participants from 27 island nations and territories. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Well, National EMTV News continues with True Guy Sports. That's coming up next. Stay tuned for the details.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome and thanks for joining me with True Guy Sports. Debutantes Serema FC and PKA Rapatona will open the 2015 to 2016 season of the Telecom National Soccer League, which has now been confirmed to kick off on the 21st of November. While at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium in Lae, youth development side Besta FC will meet last season grand finalists Madang.
Besta FC remain one of the few teams from last season who were able to defeat Hekari, a feat that may be difficult to repeat since Besta have since lost a number of players to other clubs. And in an ironic twist, the man behind much of Besta's success, Bob Morris, will now be at the helm of Madang FC. Madang won't have the luxury of midfielder Alwyn Comalong, who is now over in the US, but the bulk of their grand final squad remain, and that experience will most likely play in their hands. Admiralty will have filtered a number of the champion Manu side into their camp. Head coach Peter Sakayas has been successful in gelling a young side and who will appear unfazed heading into round one. Gorka Gohisa are the first team to be based in the Highlands region, and a handful of players would have been taken from the regional championships from October with the NSI to host their matches. The Highlands, however, is not a footballing stronghold, but the inclusion should be enough to boost the profile of the NSL in the region. Gigira Laitepo are back after a hiatus of a few years and meet up with Hekari in their opening encounter. Although the Reds look strong at the moment, Hekari have recruited well for this season and will be looking to continue their standard of play. To date, they have not lost an opening match. Rapatona have youth, Erema FC experience, which shows the transition in styles and philosophy between clubs in the NSL. FC Port Moresby, who finished 4th last season, will face PS Huawei United. So far in the trials, Port Moresby FC has impressed, dominating their opposition, although Gigira Laitepo did place them under huge pressure over the weekend. But do you think, how do you think the boys are gelling together so far, especially 1 week before the competition?
The boys, some of the boys just came into camp too as well, and yeah, everything's okay. Reggie's been coaching us and everything with all the little basics things, so yeah, I think we'll be all right in the first game coming up.
It will be difficult to predict the outcomes after the opening rounds, especially based on the previous results from last season, since the only match between existing clubs from season 10 is that of Besta FC and Madang. There is a problem with the draws though. Gorka Gohisa will host 4 matches, and those over at the NSI against Welgris and Lae City Dwellers. And the problem is, that means that both sides will play against the same team twice at the same home ground in the same season. And whether that is an advantage for Gorka FC remains to be seen. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
With the National Boxing Championships to be held in New Ireland later this month, the NCD Boxing will be hosting the second of its sparring competition to prep fighters for the event. NCD will be aiming to send the best that it has, knowing that stiff competition will come from the New Guinea Islands region in Arab and also from the Karuku Amateur Boxing Association as well.
Team NCD have been training at the High Performance Training Center with a few aspects such as boxers' agility, strength and conditioning. Team NCD's final team will be selected from this Sunday's sparring competition. The selection committee will finalize the best senior fighters to attend the nationals. All boxers are required to make the weight to fight in the correct weight division, ranging from the lightweight to super heavyweight. PNG Boxing Union President John Avira is adamant the tournament will be a success, especially with the number of participating clubs rising. This was also attested to by tournament director Dick Larry, who also said the quality of boxing has improved. NCD head coach Mark Keto and assistant coach Kevin Bucky are both working on identifying the best senior boxers with novice, not as part of the competition. The final team will be announced after this Sunday's sparring competition, which will be hosted at NCD's Deputy City Manager Hon Kiap's residence. Rafaela Kaure, National EMTV Sports.
The people of Mount Hagen in Western Islands have their own stories to tell about FIFA's David Beckham on his recent visit into the province. Our journalist Fabian Aklitz was in Mount Hagen, where locals openly expressed their joy at hosting the football greats.
David Beckham's recent visit to Mount Hagen as United Nations ambassador caught locals by surprise. The FIFA soccer star has had a place in the hearts of soccer fans, or even the general public in Papua New Guinea. Women of Kagamuga Interdenomination Mothers Association in cooperation, who work endlessly keeping the airport area clean, got to meet the soccer star. Team leader Julie James actually shook hands with David and welcomed him.
Proud lo welcome him lo province lo mipla. Time him come, me put him flower on neck long him, na me sigani mem me to welcome. And again Papua New Guinea. And thank you very much. Mipla got big lo proud long sigani mem mosem because him stop long country blame name come straight long.
The soccer legend played with kids, ate with people, and even mingled with them.
I'm kick go semna. I'm kick banana kick na. I'm go inside na. I'm very wild this lada. Me blood just RM story dasel na life me blood looking na.
It was a privilege for Maria Pulavo.
A privilege le pura le airport lo me blood when me blood sa la clean him na so maintain him na. Me blood la looking sa la new blood all people come long ene mosem. Come and bring one black and big blood was na. Encouragement for beginning blood me blood also like him. Sports especially soccer.
Beckham's visit was described as a true definition of humbleness of an ambassador. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV Sports.
You're with Trukai Sports. We have all the news in Rugby Union that's coming up next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG Pukpuks and Palas departed for Auckland this afternoon with the hope of qualifying for both the 2016 Rio Olympics and the World Series 7 circuit. While this marks a significant event in PNG Rugby's calendar, it also marks a milestone for Debbie Kaore, who has been named who has been in and out of the code. Her return to the side will see her captain the team at the Oceania Sevens Championships this weekend.
After a standout performance for the Spartans in the National Provincial Championships, Debbie Cowra makes a firm comeback to the national squad after 4 years. The 26-year-old's exit allowed her to take up the code of boxing alongside sister Rafaela Cowra. While it wasn't her intention to represent PNG once again for Rugby Sevens, her selection to the team was inevitable after outshining several other reps during the NPC Sevens.
I can't say I'm proud of making a comeback, but I wasn't expecting a selection when I took part in the NPC Sevens, but I'm not surprised that I'm back in the team, and yeah, I'm pretty much happy to be part of the team.
With a bulk of experience under her belt as a senior and respected athlete in PNG's overall sporting contingent, she has stepped straight into the captaincy role.
Yeah, we had a short period of time preparation, but I'm pretty confident that we'll give our best and we'll do 100%. Yeah, we'll give 100% of our effort.
And she won't be alone in leading the team abroad, with the backing of longtime Palas Dulcie Bomai, Menda Rapat and Trisilla Rema. The Palais were also accompanied by the PNG Pukpuks, who will also travel to Auckland for the Oceania Championships. Upon their arrival in Auckland, the PNG Pukpuks will take on Cook Islands on Saturday, followed by matches against American Samoa and Samoa. There has, however, been a slight change to the Pukpuks team. Lae City, National EMTV Sports.
The Capital Rugby Union has confirmed their representative team to travel to Madang for the Duban Kalibobo Lighthouse Sevens. The CRU Bombers comprise of players featured in Port Moresby's prestigious competition. Included in the team is former Pukpuk Jona Kautu, Karo Kauna Jr. and Koroseta Veni, who at the last minute stepped down from national duties with the PNG Pukpuks in Auckland. The team has been intact over the past 2 weeks and will travel to Madang under the stewardship of coach Joe Kautu. MTV's Lae City caught up with the team in training this afternoon at the Bava Rugby Park.
The CRU Bombers have been tipped as one of the favourites for this weekend's tournament in Madang. Now, many of these blokes have been consistently featuring in a number of Sevens tournaments over the past 2 months, and the momentum is at an all-time high for them. Now, the team has been in training over the past 2 weeks here at the Bava Park in Port Moresby and are definitely in form and ready to go for this weekend. Joe Kautu's team is filled with nothing but exhilarating speed, a handful of youthful debutants and some dangerous talent. With Jonah Kautu named in the backs alongside Ian Grant and Oswald Geller, Ray Vargi, Karokauna Jr. and Monty Diave make up the forwards.
Under the guidance of coach Joe Kautu, we've been going through everything at the training. In terms of skills, defense, everything we put that both of those stuff together for the last 2 weeks. So now we're just trying to go through bits and pieces of what we are doing over the weekend with our trial matches and trying to go through that. Yeah.
While the draws are yet to be released by the tournament organisers, the Bombers are expecting some strong competition from Madang's provincial side that featured in the recent National Provincial Championships, and of course rugby giants AROB and Morobeans.
You know, if we go and we perform well in the tournament, who knows, we might be there, but we're just looking forward for this weekend. Yeah.
The boys will depart early on Friday to prepare for the tournament on Saturday. Although quietly confident, they are looking to cause an upset against the hosts and of course claim victory in this first of its kind tournament in Madang. Lae City, National EMTV Sports.
That's a take on True Guy Sports tonight. Coming up, we have your weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
True Guy Sports. True Guy Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours, in southern region, Port Moresby and Alberta, fine and dry, while in the other centres, mostly fine weather. In Momase, fine although cloudy at times expected in Madang, cloudy periods for Lae City, while Wewak and Vanimo to look forward to brief evening showers, then fine weather. In the New Guinea Islands, possible brief showers developing in Buka, brief showers for Kimbe, Rabaul, Kokopo and Kavieng, while Lorengau, mostly fine weather. And lastly, in the Islands region, all centres, low clouds developing, then morning fog patches. Now before we go, quickly recapping our main headlines again. Protest march continues in Lae City. Also, Morobeans give 7-day ultimatum to administration, and local scientists challenge government to develop renewable resources sector. Well, that's been Tuesday's news. On behalf of the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.